Yeah, perfect. So I'm Max Corsette with 7-X. Basically, at 7-X, we're a precision ag technology company, and we're really focused on the livestock side of things right now. Our primary focus is on beef cattle. We're a company out of Fargo, North Dakota. We're about 3 years old now, so we're kind of moving out of the startup stage. We've got about 35 employees in-house. We like to do everything in-house. So we've got a software application. It's an app on your phone. It also works on the web, the computer there. And we've got our own software engineering team that's developed that. We've got our own electronics engineering team that's developed these tags that Chris is passing around. And we've got our own sales and marketing team in-house. So customer service is all in-house. When there's issues that you guys are seeing with your app or with your tags, you call us. Our sales team walks upstairs and talks to engineers and tries solving the problems. But that's really our big thing that we're trying to do is solve the problems that are being noticed out in these for livestock out on the range. We kind of started off, our first product was our Pro Tag. It's that clear tag that's getting passed around. It's a G.P.S ear tag for cattle. Takes a G.P.S location every 15 minutes. And we know that ranchers don't have the time to be looking at their data all day, every day. And we know that you guys just need alerts. When something's wrong out in the pasture, what's going on? Where's my animal at? How can I go find it? How can I help it? So what the tag tries to do and with the app is just give you the problems that's going on. So like I mentioned, it takes a GPS point every 15 minutes. If your animal goes outside the fence, it reports that data point right away. It says, hey, this animal's outside the fence within those 15-minute intervals. So you draw your pastures on our software application. And then as soon as it gets out, you get an alert right to your phone saying, hey, animal number 163 is out of the fence. With that tag, on the front there, that black thing is a solar panel. So the tag recharges itself. We know that ranchers can't be out there changing batteries, working their animals that often. It's just so infeasible for a rancher. So we tried to solve those issues as well. We felt that the ear tag mounting location was the best way to do it because that's pretty standard practices in beef cattle. Whereas collars, things of that nature, the animal grows over time, gets hard to adjust it. You got to work the animal. We want to put the animal through as little amount of stress as possible. In that tag, there's also a variety of different sensors. So there's an accelerometer in there that tracks all the movement of the animal. And with what that sensor is doing, we've got a team of data science people that are correlating what that animal is doing with that sensor data. So we can essentially determine if the animal is eating, ruminating, walking around, or standing in line. So with deviations in those behaviors, we're working on building detailed health alerts. And currently we've got a low activity alert. So when that animal, it takes its normal activity level over a 7-day period and creates a baseline of how much that animal normally moves. When that animal deviates below about 50% of what it typically does, it sends an alert saying, hey, low activity this animal, something seems to be wrong. Go out, check it, see what's going on. Here's exactly where the animal's at. Here's the GPS location where it is right now when the alert was drawn. There's also a high activity alert. So if the animal's being chased by a predator or anything of that nature, over a 3-minute time span, if that activity on that tag is detected to be about 3 times the normal threshold level of what that animal typically does, it'll send an alert saying, hey, high activity seen in this animal, don't know what's wrong. Actually, so at 7-X, our boss has a test ranch, the CEO, Kevin Biffert, in Grassy Butte, North Dakota. We've got about 5,000 acres out there with 150 red Angus cattle that were rotationally grazing. And this winter, we drew a couple of these high activity alerts. And the ranch manager, he's like, yeah, I can't even get out to those cattle. It snows so deep over there. I don't know what was going on in that area where the high activity alert was drawn. And we figured out that, hey, that animal got stuck in the snow and was just trying to get out. And it did get out by itself, and we didn't have an issue there. But some of these alerts are kind of things that we're trying to help solve. And the reason we came up with this low activity alert is we had 2 bulls that died last fall and over the winter. So we had a bull that actually slid down a hill and got stuck under a tree. We were able to go back and look at the data on the tag, and we could tell that animal continued living for about 3 days, but its activity level went to about 15% of its normal level. So that's why we came up with this 50% threshold. And with that, we went back and ran the data, and it would have told us 3 days prior to the animal actually dying that animal was stuck under a tree. We could see that it was moving around for a while, and then eventually it just flatlined. Then we had another bull that got like pneumonia or something over the winter that died, unfortunately. Look back at that data, we could tell he was getting slow as well. We've had a few other customers that have reached out that their animals have died with our tags on them that we were able to train and develop these algorithms on too. And over the winter, we have a story, a ranch manager, we have 2 cows over there that seem to get this walking pneumonia, and they're right by home, so their water is close. They weren't walking very far, and he said, I wouldn't have noticed it, but the drew low activity alerts, he went out there, looked, he said, these animals are definitely sick, gave some antibiotics, right back up after 5 days, kind of went back to their normal activity level. So we're trying to solve issues like that. There's a couple other alerts that the tag generates, a high activity alert, or a high movement alert. So if the animal's traveling over 30 miles an hour, it sends an alert. A free fall alert if the tag was to be cut off and fall to the ground, it detects zero gravity. And then there's also a no movement alert. So either the animal died or the tag fell off. It gives you a G.P.S. location. You can go grab the tag and reapply it to the animal. So that was that clear tag that's going around. Kind of want to keep this a pretty open discussion. Does anyone have questions on that product right now?
Yeah. Is this tower-based information or signal that it's getting, or is it satellite?
It is. So the G.P.S. is off satellites, and the information, the data is over cellular networks. So you don't need a base station, you don't need any other infrastructure. That tag costs $83 to buy the tag, and it's $42 annually for the cell data plan. So the first year costs you $125. Every year after is $42. But it all goes through cellular networks and transmits automatically to your app on your phone or computer.
And that information that's transferred is rancher-based information only to them. Nobody else gets that information.
Correct. Your data is yours, stored in our database, and it's only accessible by the users. You can authorize as many users as you want in your account so that anyone involved in your ranching operation can see it and look at it as well. One thing I wanted to mention, it takes a G.P.S. location every 15 minutes. Like I said, we just want to give you the alerts, like if the animal's outside the fence or if there's just low activity. It reports those types of things right away, but it transfers, if there's no alerts, nothing wrong with the animal, it transfers all the data once a day. And then you get to set your check-in time. So like a lot of guys have been putting these pro tags on bulls, and they say, I go out at 8 a.m. every morning, and I want to see where my bulls are, make sure they're with the cow herd, breeding my cows, get more pregnant that way. And they can set their check-in time for 8 a.m. so they can go out there and see, okay, here's where my bulls are, and make sure they're with the cow, essentially.
And then you can go into the computer system and kind of see how they roam through that grazing pattern, through the pasture daily, or even across the whole season.
You got all historical data, so you can set your time frame if you just want to see the last 7 days where these animals were grazing. You can do that. We've got a herd tracking report, so you can see all the animals with tags, how they were grazing for the last 7 days, and you can speed it up so that it can go, 50 times the normal speed. And then we've also got a grazing heat map, so that will show you just a heat map of what areas have been the most grazed and which areas have not been grazed as much.
Great, thank you.
Got a question, Mike. So these warning algorithms, high activity, low activity, is that calibrated individually for each animal? Does it take a week for the computer to say, here's the normal, or how does that work?
Correct. It takes a 7-day baseline activity of each animal. So we've kind of determined across different breeds, some animals, aren't as active as others, some are very active. So we take, animal number 136, here's 7 days of its activity, and it's pretty normal here. And then if it drops below that 50% threshold, hey, here's an alert, here's what's going on with it. So it's based on every individual animal. It's not just across the board. Here's an activity level that animal can have. Any other questions on the pro tag? There?
What's the tag? How do we find it?
If the tag were to fall off the animal, so I mentioned there's a free fall alert, so it could detect zero gravity as it falls off. Otherwise, there's a no movement alert that says, hey, this tag has absolutely no movement for a 3-hour period, no acceleration. It gives a GPS position right where that tag's at. The GPS has about a 3-meter accuracy, so it's in a general area. You go out to that area. Then the tag also has Bluetooth capability. So once you get within Bluetooth range, which is about 50 to 100 feet, we have a kind of chart that tells you if it's hot or cold where you're going from the tag, so you can pick it up. What we've seen works best. There's also an LED light that you can activate on the tag. So if you go out in the middle of the night, the tag lights up really well. There's actually a YouTuber called How Farms Work that lost some tags, and then he went out in the middle of the night, and they're under a big brush pile, and he found them with the light out there.
So the lifespan of the tag is the lifespan of the cow?
It's about 3 to 5 year lifespan of the tag.
Max, middle of the winter, indefinite cloud cover. How long will that solar keep that battery going?
Yep, so we've designed the tag to account for these cloudy days and stuff like that going on. So it's got about a 7-day cellular connectivity if there was absolutely no sunlight at all. I mean, zero. But even on those cloudy days, we're still picking up sunlight and getting charged in that tag. But then even after that cell connectivity turns off, the Bluetooth will last on that tag for about 2 months. And we just tried to design around that. We've designed it big enough that there shouldn't be those issues. There's some smart features in the tag where it tries to back off on the battery level. As the battery level droops, so once it gets below about 80% of its battery, instead of every 15 minutes taking GPS, it starts taking GPS every hour. And then after it gets below 50% of its battery level, it starts taking GPS every 4 hours. So we're trying to build some smarts into there to account for losing battery, having those cloudy days, so that you can always know where your animal's at and have a relative good idea.
Max, did explain where we put it on the ear.
The tag is mounted on the back side of the cattle's ear, that pro tag. Unlike your traditional tag, it mounts in the front. You put this on the back between those 2 ribs on the back side there.
When are you gonna put a little shock factor in it to where if they cross the boundary?
There's some other technologies out there. I know NDSU's testing out their shooter location events, but we don't want to shock the animals. There's been some animal humane issues that have gone on with those. We don't want PETA coming after us.
Okay, tingle them.
So, we just kind of, what we do is we give you alerts if the animal's out of the fence, and it's up to the ranch to kind of go back and put them in. We believe put up better fences at that point.
Can you use
So,
it for
and
detection?
you usually don't lose them ever? I mean, is there times the signal can't be seen, like if they're under trees?
So yeah, cell connectivity is not 100% across the U.S. We've got pretty good connectivity. I actually drove around 7,500 miles through the Midwest in the most rural areas with poor cell connectivity, and the tags check in very well. They send really small amounts of data, so it's less than a text message, so they connect better than your phone typically does. So even in areas like our ranch in Grassy Butte, my phone doesn't work out there at all, but the tags check in pretty consistently. And they've got some smarts built in. If they're in an area where there's no cell service, they keep trying to check in as the animal moves around into different areas consistently so that you can get your data.
What's been your experience with retention rate?
So there has been some issues with our current tags, those V4s with retention. Like Derek mentioned, there's some nice features built in so you can go pick them up and find them. I'd say off the top of my head, probably about an 80-85% retention rate on them. But there is some issues, and we are designing other products. A big issue that we were having, we tried to resolve. There's one tag floating around here that's got the strap on it, and a lot of these are old demo tags that you're seeing. But Chris is holding it up right there. There's a strap, so we feel that's going to help resolve some of those retention issues. It's kind of a limiter strap so that a tag can't fall down anymore and get taken out. So we're hoping to have better retention with that, and we're also continuously working on other designs to improve the retention rate as well.
May I ask a question or comment? With the tag on the outside of the ear, they put their ear through something or whatever, they drag their ear back, they're raking across that big button.
Yep.
I wonder if you wouldn't be better off retention-wise.
Retention-wise, to put the tag on the inside of the ear so that when they back out of stuff, they're not tearing it. Is there a reason why it's on the outside instead of the inside?
Yeah, we initially started putting the tags on the inside of the ear. The solar panel gets blocked by the hair in the ears on a lot of different breeds, especially Angus that we're noticing. We weren't getting very good charging in sunlight. So by putting it on the backside of the ear, we kind of solved our solar panel issues. But yes, the retention, we see very good retention out in pasture. at our ranch. We haven't had many issues there. It's mainly been in like feed bunks and those sorts of settings where you see some.
Then a follow-up question, what's it cost?
$83 for that pro tag. That's $42 annually for the sub data plan. So year one's $125 for that tag. Every year after is $42. But the big value add that we see is putting it on your bulls. And we also just came out with an algorithm for bull mounting, so you can actually compare which bulls are doing the most work. And we're doing it. I think Dr. Skaglia let us kind of help build that algorithm at NDSU there in Fargo, and we're doing a study right now with them in Carrington. So hats off to NDSU and helping us with that. But we've basically what it does, you can go into your reports in your app and see which bulls are having how many mounts each day, and you can compare them against each other. And we actually found at our ranch, we were doing a study this year, and the first bull we put in there didn't mount a single cow. Well, last year we had 6 bulls with about 150 cows, and last year we had a pretty high open rate, between 15 and 20%. And we want to help solve those problems. We kind of calculated it was about $60,000 in loss by not having animals bred last year. And so we took that one bull that wasn't breeding any out of our pen, put a new one in, same tag, and watched that bull mounting algorithm. You can see that other one mounted about 90 mounts within the next 12 hours. You got a question there?
I do. I just want to get clear on one thing on the pricing. It's $42 per tag?
Per tag per year.
Okay.
Yep. So, like I said, the biggest value add we've been seeing is on bulls. At our ranch, we got 6 bulls, about $750 for the first year. Every year after, $250. We get one cow bred. It's $1,000, $1,500
I
calf.
understand. There's economics in it.
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
there an optimal herd size that what do you think would be acceptable?
We suggest it for any herd size. So you've got a lot of users kind of have off-farm jobs that want to be watching their cattle, but we've got very big herds out there and very small herds as well using the products.
Can you use it for heat detection?
We do not have heat detection built in the tag right now, but we are working on developing that algorithm. We've got a data science team, and that's kind of what we're trying to do, those deviations and those activities that I kind of mentioned to do that. All right, well, I kind of want to mention, I don't know if that little white tag is floating around as well, but we've got a light tag too. So, I don't know if Chris has got that. Sorry. So that's a more basic tag. It's Bluetooth connected. Pro tag's also got Bluetooth, and it's got an accelerometer in there so you can track the footsteps of the animal. There's no movement alerts built into that, and there's RFID technology in it. Really, the only reason we put RFIDs in that tag is to follow 840 USDA approval. We're working on going through the certification of that right now. But what that tag does is you can have the pro tags on your bulls and a few cows in your herd. We say you can have one pro tag for every 10 light tags. And then what it'll do is if one of those light tags is near a pro tag out in the field, it grabs a relative GPS location. So it takes the GPS off of the pro tag and checks it in. Some other cool features with that, we've got a roll call feature. So I can go out through the herd, grab my phone, turn on the map on a roll call feature, and sorry about that. Basically, every animal that I get is it? I guess that. But every animal I get within 50 to 100 feet of with my phone Bluetooth range, it checks them off that they've been found, and I can look through my list and see which ones have been missing. So it's kind of a quick and easy head count of your animals versus going out there manually counting. You know, it's pretty much impossible. So that tag is much cheaper, and then you could see GPS locations of your herd more often. That tag is $17.50. You buy them in packs of 10, so it's $175 for a pack of 10 of those tags. Does anyone have questions on that product?
How often do you have to charge it?
So that light tag has a 3-year battery life in it. So there's no cellular connection fee. There's no $42 a year. There's no cell, no GPS on that tag. It just goes off Bluetooth to get those locations. So you can get. So basically, what we're trying to go down with that tag is the traceability aspect of cattle, knowing where they've been, where they've came from. We can collect GPS points on those animals through either your cell phone's Bluetooth connection when doing roll call. We can collect a GPS location through a pro tag, and we can collect a GPS location through our X-Base, which Chris also has in the cooler there. But our X-Base, what it allows you to do, so you can put it near a spot that animals actively go to, like at a water tank where you feed or put mineral out. It let you know every time an animal checks into that X space and gets near it within that 50 to 100 foot range, how much time they spend in it. So you can do, a lot of researchers are kind of interested in it for water intake studies. And then the next part of it, there's a probe in that bag too, Chris, that connects to that X base. So the X base is completely optional. You don't need to use it through tags, but it just kind of gives you a better data point. That probe that Chris is just kind of holding and hanging on, nothing too special about it, just so you can see it, is a water tank sensor. So you can put that in your water tank, and the X base is cellular connected. It'll let you know if your water is getting too high, getting too low. So if your flow were to break and it's overflowing, you can get alerts from that. If your water's getting too low and your cattle don't have water, you can get alerts remotely from your phone. And then there's also too hot and too cold, so the temperature sensor on as well. So you can set how hot you want your water and how cold you want your water and be alerted. So you don't have to be out to pasture checking water every day. Anyone got questions on that? Or any other general questions?
The light tag, can I use that as they run through the chute for processing? Bluetooth into my cell phone or iPad or something?
Yep, use your cell phone or iPad, any Bluetooth connected device, and as they run through the chute, basically what it does, because Bluetooth isn't just like the closest animal, it'll show you the top 5 animals, what are the closest 5 animals with best signal strength to you, and you have to basically click that animal's number and verify with the visual tag that that's the animal. But it also has RFID technology, so if you wander through a chute, you've got that connectivity. We're trying to work on a sensor for chute side capability where it'd be a directional antenna. So as the animal comes through the chute with Bluetooth, it just picks up that one animal and lets you know this is the animal in the chute and automatically puts it on your phone so that you know here's the animal. You can connect that to the scale as well.
Maybe Max explained the app, but you need the app in order to do some of the tracking.
Yep. So without an app, you can't visualize the data, you can't see where your animals are, nothing like that. So basically, there's a satellite imagery map like Google Earth where you see the animal's actual location. You draw your pastures, your boundaries of location on the app. All the record-keeping information of the cattle can be stored on there. Whether you vaccinated, the animal's just born. It's basically a digital cabin book on your phone. So you don't need to go out there with pen and paper anymore. You take all your notes on your app, and then everyone else in your operation can see what's going on as well, who entered that data, and be up to date at all times. But it works offline because I know a lot of cattle are in very rural areas where you don't have good cellular connectivity or Wi-Fi, something like that out there. So it works offline. Once you get back online, it's stuff in the operation can see what's going on. Any questions on the app or any other products?
Well, not on the app, but if you have it in animals and you sell the animal, can it be retrieved and used in a different animal?
The Pro tag can be cut off and put on a different animal, and it'll restart the data on the new animal. The light tag, because we're going for USDA 840 approval, it's a tamper-proof tag. That's the big one is the one that you can move to another animal. The light one, the small one in your hand there, is tamper-proof and can't be removed. It's just like an RFID tag, essentially. You can't move it to the next animal. But there's capability in our app for all that data that you've recorded on your animal, you can transfer it to the new owner. So when you transfer it to that animal, you just type in the new person's email address. If they have our app, they can see all the vaccinations you've given the animal, everything you've done to it can be reported to the new owner of that animal.
Is there any way in the future coming up that this one here could be retrieved and
I mean, we could do it the same for that
put into
Pro tag.
a different or younger animal?
Yeah, we could do it just like the Pro tag, but the main thing that we're just trying to go for is that USDA 840 approval. The big thing for traceability is that it has to be a tamper-proof tag, so you can't move it between animals, essentially, is why the USDA kind of came up with those guidelines.
What if they don't know you tampered with it?
That's why it's designed that way. You can't tamper with it.
You can't cut this thing and take it off here?
You can try. You put that on an animal and you try to take it off, I'd be very impressed. But no, there's a rigorous lab test that you have to go through to actually get approval, and it's tamper-proof.
Do the light tags store data? Are
The
they
light-
two-way RFID?
The light tags do store data, but they transmitted over to the Pro Tag. So all the data, it holds footstep count. It's kind of the main data point that it holds. And then that's really it. It's the RFID, you can't put any more data on. So basically they transfer all their data over to a Pro Tag, to your phone, or to the X-Base. Anyone else? Thank you so much for being here today. Appreciate having this opportunity.